Hello! Today we're going to take a look at how to get off to the best possible start in manufacturing Starfield. Based on the Steam achievements, it looks like less than 1% of players have properly linked their bases. It is a bit tricky, but don't worry, I'll show you how to do it. We'll do a step-by-step overview of how to set up your basic outposts to get your initial materials. Then we'll look at automating the delivery of your materials to a central hub. Unfortunately, this is tricky, and you have to follow a very specific set of steps, but I'll show you exactly how to do it. Then we'll finish off by looking at how you can store your goods and set up an initial manufacturing infrastructure. You find different resources in different planets and moons. Scanning them will let you see the resource map. There's a skill called scanning under the science group that will reveal all the minerals that you can find on a planet. If you want to focus on building a lot of industry, it's very important to upgrade it. But it will take some time to get it, and early on you will not be able to see everything. The problem is that you're limited in how many outposts you can have, and where you place your outposts determines what resources you can extract from that site. You'll want to go for locations with multiple resources, so those boundary regions between resources on the map are your best bet. Explore around the landing sites to see where the most resources are. Use the scan mode to see what resources you can find around the map. If you go into the established outpost mode, you'll see what materials the new outpost will cover before you build it. This can take a lot of time, so don't worry too much about finding the perfect site at the beginning. You can dismantle bases without losing materials, so you can always re-establish them at better sites later on. At this stage, you should focus on getting all the basic materials instead. So what do you need right at the beginning? As a minimum, your first outpost should have one extractor and a power source. Aluminium is used in pretty much everything early on, so that's a great candidate for your first outpost. The moon just above New Atlantis is temperate, and there's plenty of aluminium. Do the same for other materials like iron and tungsten that are also used in extractors, and cobalt and nickel that you need for wind generators, which should be your preferred power sources. All of these can be found in the Alpha Centauri system, where New Atlantis is, and you can travel between worlds within the same system without using up any fuel. At first you'll have to travel between outposts to manually pick up the materials, but the point is that you want to get started extracting those minerals right away. You'll need a lot of them to build up your outposts. Every location on a planet has a predetermined landing site, so if you spent a bit of time looking for a great spot for your outposts, you may have to travel for hundreds of meters to get to your outpost and back to your ship. You can skip this by building a landing pad. That will allow you to land directly at the pad instead of at the landing site. You need iron and aluminium to build them, but they're definitely worth the effort. Once you have them, you'll be able to just land, pick up your materials, and fast travel to the next outpost, and that will save you a lot of time. The next step is to automate things so you can avoid having to travel around to pick up materials. This involves building cargo links. They automatically push goods between outposts in the same system. The tricky bit is that they require zero wire and beryllium. If you've done some exploring, you may have found some already, but to make them you need copper and silver. Copper is okay, but both beryllium and silver can't be found in this system. But the good news is that the system right next to Alpha Centauri has them, and it doesn't take any fuel to travel there. Set up basic outposts on the second planet to get silver, and one of the moons to get beryllium. Bring back the materials and craft yourself some zero wire using an industrial workbench. At this point you should pick an outpost where you want all your resources to go to. Cargo links are tricky. A cargo link can only link 2 outposts, and no outpost can have more than 2 cargo links. The only way to link a lot of outposts together is to use daisy chains. Basically that means you send the materials from one outpost to a second one. Then you have another cargo link and send the materials from both outposts to a third outpost. Do that until you have all materials from all outposts being sent to a single location. It's a bit tricky to get it done, but it's worth the effort, so let me show you how to do it. First pick an outpost that you don't want to go to too often. Then go to modified mode. Here you can right click on your extractors to create a link. If you put the link over the output container of the cargo link, it will snap into place, and you can confirm that to establish the link. Once that's done, the extractor will automatically send its materials to the cargo link. If you make a mistake, you can mouse over the link. When it changes color, you can hold the delete button to remove it. Go to the second outpost and build a second cargo link. Don't link the extractors to this cargo link yet. At the console, you'll now see the first outpost in the list. Link them and you'll see freighters landing at the pad, and the inbound container will have the materials from the first outpost. Build a second cargo link at this second outpost. You can now link the extractors to the output container of the new cargo link. Now comes the important bit. Link the inbound container from the first cargo link to the output container of the second cargo link. That will send the materials from the first outpost plus the materials from this outpost to whatever outpost you link this new cargo link to. So every outpost passes on what it received and adds what it mines. Do that for every outpost until you have all outposts in a system sending the goods to the central hub we talked about before. To send materials between systems, you need to set up an inter-system cargo link. It works in a similar manner to the normal cargo links, but it takes fuel to run. If you haven't already, make sure that you research the Manufacturing 1 tech. You may have to do some scanning to find plants that give you sealant. But if you're having trouble, then Toliman 2, where we set up our silver outpost, has plants that give you sealant. The ideal setup is to have all outposts in a system sending the resources to a single location. Then build an inter-system cargo link and send it across systems. Keep building daisy chains until you reach your manufacturing outpost. The ideal location is the moon system because they tend to have helium. Build a helium extractor. Inter-system cargo links have a gas tank to the rear. The easiest way is to link the helium extractor directly to it. If you want to collect helium, you can also install a gas container between the new extractor and the cargo link. Back at your manufacturing hub, you should have a cargo link and an inter-system cargo link, where all the goods from your other outposts are being delivered to. Set up a number of storage containers to hold the materials. This allows you to store more materials, and it keeps excavators working because you avoid bottlenecks. You want to link all the extractors at this location and the incoming containers from your cargo links to a single storage container. Then link this container to the other storage you have. If you do it right, the last container in the chain will fill up first. Check to see if you're getting all the materials from across all your outposts. You can stack the boxes to save on space. If you need to expand your storage, you can remove links where you want to add new boxes and then link them back up. It's a bit difficult to see the links where the containers are stacked, but always make sure that the last container in the chain is getting the materials. That means that the chain is correct. One inconvenience is that you can't set limits based on the type of material, so you can't tell the system to stop after you have 200 iron. You can only do that by unlinking or depowering the excavators at their bases. The system will keep delivering until you run out of storage, which may cause your manufacturing to stop because it's not getting the materials it needs. So you may have to expand your storage space as you extract more. It's also not a bad idea to regularly clear up your raw materials. Take everything from storage and put it into the safe in the lodge, because that has unlimited storage. You'll definitely be overloaded, but after you pass the contraband check, you'll be able to sit in the pilot's seat and fast travel directly to the lodge. So you only have to walk a little bit to get to your room. Do this every so often to free up storage at your base. Researching the Manufacturing 1 tech allows you to build automatic crafters. When you build them, you can choose from 11 different types, but they're all the same. You can simply change the recipe once you build them. They allow you to build the same things the industrial workbench does, just in an automated fashion. But you can't build from the materials in your inventory. You have to link them to a storage box. Create a link from the last storage container to your automated crafter. That will allow you to draw materials to craft with. Just like with extractors, crafters have a limit to how much they can hold, but you can link the crafter to a storage box to take the output. You can chain manufacturers by linking them together to create more advanced products. For anybody who might be struggling with where to locate their outposts, let me go over where I've set up my outposts and what I produce. I base my central hub on Kurtz, the moon above New Atlantis. I mine aluminium and helium there. All resources are exported to this location. There's copper at the poles of Zamka, one of the moons of Olivos. My outpost has access to copper and water. It exports to an outpost that has access to cobalt and nickel, which then exports to an outpost that produces iron. I'll probably replace the copper and iron outposts with better locations once I find a site with more resources. Vos, another moon of Olivos, has an outpost that produces tungsten and can produce lead. For silver and beryllium, I have 2 outposts on Ptolemy as we discussed before. If you get a similar setup, that should provide you with pretty much all the basic materials that you need to build your own manufacturing base. So there you go. If you follow this guide, you should have outposts producing all the basic resources. Your outposts across planets and systems should be delivering to a central hub where you've set up all your manufacturing. You'll need to advance your outpost engineering skill to unlock more advanced components, but this setup we went through will put you in a great spot to do that. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified when new videos come out. See you soon.